Hey, Zenny62, it's Joseph back with another discussion with regards to Loki, the Disney Plus series that's debuted on Wednesday. Now, earlier I did give a quick take on the first episode, as well as if you watch Zenny62, there was also a live discussion with regards to the first episode. Now, what I wanted to bring up that you may or may not have even noticed was the conversation that Loki had with Miss Minutes. As you know, Miss Minutes was a cartoon figure, a time clock, or like little alarm clock that basically discussed the time variance authorities. It was like a PSA for the time variance authority, and discussing the timekeepers and how they uniformly collected all the multiverse timelines and streamlined it to what's called the sacred timeline. Now, in that explanation of Miss Minutes describing that to Loki, or while he's watching the PSA, we find that the theory behind streamlining the sacred timeline from the multiverse is that anything or anybody who varies off the predestined timeline creates what's called a nexus. And a nexus is what eventually creates a different timeline. And when there's multiple nexuses, it creates a multi-universe. It takes an alternate timeline. And through the history that Miss Minutes takes us through, is that there was an enormous amount of multiverse timelines that created war and havoc and the destruction of not only humanity but of the universe. And that's when the timekeepers interjected and streamlined those multiverses and created what's called the sacred timeline. Now, what's interesting in that process is that Miss Minutes mentions, there's a key word in there that she mentions: when there's a nexus, there tends to be madness, which harkens back to what eventually will be Doctor Strange 2's title. Doctor Strange 2 title will be the Multiverse of Madness, right? So there are two things that we see there. Miss Minutes recognizing or explaining to us key phrases that leads up to the eventuality of things to come. Now, Marvel has always done this. They throw tidbits or little sneak peeks throughout their entire series, whether it be a movie, will it be a TV series. Now, if you remember that discussion that we had about Nexus, if you recall, was an antidepressant. It was a fake commercial that was created in WandaVision episode 7. It was to describe kind of Wanda's sensibilities at the time, what she was going through. And that was a reference to her, if you look at the commercial, her inner feelings, her feeling out of place and not facing reality. That was called a Nexus antidepressant. The Nexus pill was heavily featured in the WandaVision episode 7 as a fake commercial to kind of move or give us a hint of what's to come in the Marvel Universe. And we've seen that played out now when Miss Minutes has talked about the word Nexus and what it means. So we're seeing the correlation of things being put into place, in essence, our own timelines, to see how they're adding everything up to create what we eventually will find out is a purposeful meaning behind every situation that Marvel is doing up to this point. So we find out that the word Nexus, it really describes about something or someone or anything that's not following a predestined path. When they veer from that path, it creates a nexus, which, as Ms. Minutes says, eventually leads to madness, which eventually leads to different multiverses of the same timeline. And that's the unique thing about these series. It's referencing things from WandaVision, it's referencing things from Endgame, and as we see in the beginning of the first episode, it is a Loki that we come to realize it's the Loki of 2012. Now we see at the end of the first episode is we see a shadowy figure that seems to be possibly, if you read the comic books, Lady Loki, Miss Loki. Maybe, maybe not. I guess it's only time of whether or not we will see that in episode 2. But keep in mind that anything we're seeing now, take heed of the little things that you may be seeing not that important. Everything is of relevance. If you watch again first episode, again, pay attention to Miss Minutes and the PSA that's being displayed on the screen with regards to the Time Variance Authority and how it started and how it created. And again, it's the timekeepers that streamline those multiverses to create a sacred timeline. So something to think about, something to look forward to, and we have to wait till next week to find out what's going to happen moving forward in Loki, the Marvel Disney Plus series. Keep it here on Zenny62, and don't forget to like and subscribe.